Predictions are open.
That they are, so go ahead and get your gamba going. If you're in one of those countries that allows for gamba. If not, then VPN. That might be a way. Or you could just not gamba. I'm obligated to say that at the end there, just because of where I live. But yeah, you could just not gamba. Never think about it that way. Anyway, we're coming in over here on Dynasty LE. We're of course here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left. We have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. We of course have our blue Zerg player representing Team Falcons. Ah! It is Rogue.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett.
Not going for the safer expansion, neither of them.
Yeah, here we go. So a ZvZ or mirror matchup on Dynasty. We are rushing into the gold base, and I'm curious how aggressive we're going to be because this is going to be a big boost to the mineral income to both players.
Yeah, there's a lot of link potential when you get that gold very, very early on. I guess in ZvZ you don't really have too much to worry about. You can. There's not going to be any range units out this early on, at least none that can go across the map, which is why I support Proxy Hatch on this map. I think it works out really well.
You're an animal, Pappy. You're an animal. Yeah, I'm curious, right? As you mentioned, we only have Ling Bane to work with early on, so we could be seeing a bit of a different approach from our players. We could try to rush and avoid Ling Bane and go into roaches, try to punish the gold of the opposing player, or we could just embrace just Ling Bane aggression, trying to break through into the main base instead. I'll be honest, I haven't seen too many ZvZs this season. Like, period. Not even just on Dynasty, but in general, we've been casting very few Zerg versus Zerg matchups. A big reason for that is because in our region, right, like Miyamika is less active, Gogojoy is less active, Demi's less active, and yeah, even in the Open Cups as well, it's been all about the Protoss.
Yeah. These Polish Protoss players.
Yeah. Unironically. True. Oh.
The posse, if you will, Scarlett opting for a much earlier Roach Warren, compared to Rogue, who is getting a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, so Scarlett is skipping Banelings, rushing into very fast Roach production. Ooh, Ling Scout is going to be coming in, and Rogue, it looks like he does get behind the mineral line.
He will get eyes on the Roach Warren. He will confirm the gold, and he knows exactly how to hold against this. Scarlett now switching things up, opting for a Baneling Nest behind all of this, but once again, it gets scouted by Rogue.
Yeah, the Baneling Nest is going to be on the way. Rogue quickly checking. He saw the Roach Warren. He actually did barely not see the Baneling Nest, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be for an all-in. The Baneling Nest is just going to be to help protect these Roaches as Roaches are moving out across the map, and Scarlett's going to be doubling down. Rogue is going to have to defend with purely Ling Bane.
He didn't scout the Baneling Nest. Oh, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, that is scary. We
But
should be...
like Yep. No, I was just going to say, like you said, Rogue himself has opted for a Baneling Nest, though, so yeah, 1 or 2 safety Banes is pretty standard in this matchup.
Yeah, the way this all-in works is that the Roaches, they're kind of the backbone of the army. The Banelings are here to protect the Roaches, to make sure they don't get surrounded. So it's all about these Banelings to make sure the Lings do not get surrounded the Roaches. If that's possible, then the game could just end here and now, as Rogue is trying to catch reinforcements. Oh god!
Almost getting sandwiched here with Banelings. Rogue losing a couple of workers here and there to the Roach harass, but he does pull them away in time. Scarlett now catching, or getting caught a little bit in the middle of the map, still trying to catch all of these Lings with her own Ling Bane. But otherwise, these Roaches are just going to keep on going.
Yeah, but the Roaches are getting surrounded. Again, the Ling Bane is going to be zoned away. Scarlett is split up. She's spread out, and that means that these Roaches are being targeted down one after the other. Rogue taking advantage of the chaos here. And back at home, we have a Roach Warren on the way. Rogue so far looking good. So far, he is holding. Lings, do you manage to slip into the natural?
Yeah, we do get a full surround on the Queen, but that's pretty much the only thing that's going to go down here. Scarlett lying in wait. waiting to pounce on top of all these Lings, but unfortunately won't quite get them. We'll get the Baneling, which is something.
Yeah, we'll get the Baneling at least, but Rogue has now saturation at the goal base. We're going to be rallying Ling Bane headed in this direction. I'm curious if we can, we can't quite get on top of them, unfortunately, and Rogue is holding on for the time being. Economies are still quite comparable between our players. Likewise, Scarlett, her goal base has been left untouched this entire time.
Yeah, still able to reap the benefits of that additional mineral income, but the unfortunate thing for Scarlett here is that even though she technically has the higher army supply, she's very much spread out on the map, and Rogue, with his Lings, are able to just catch reinforcements left and right.
Yeah, once again, though, denying mining time at the goal base, so Rogue is going to be on a 2-base economy worse than that of Scarlett, and here we go. We have a couple of Roaches, we have a couple of Ravagers. Is this going to barely be enough? Oh.
Well, we'll see. Taking out the Baneling as it was morphing in was absolutely crucial, but now there are no Banelings left one way or another. Scarlett coming in with her entire army. She's up on army supply. Rogue, though, with the defender's advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be close. We're getting on some of the queens. The queens are going out.
GG is called.
Yeah, GG gets called, and Scarlett barely breaks through and will take game number 1. Whew.
Nicely done here.
GG, well played. A very, very intense game there, and even though Scarlett was getting surrounded, even though Scarlett was losing Roaches, what's important is that Scarlett was still getting some drone kills and denying mining time at the goal base and just causing chaos on Rogue's half of the map. Back at home, she was freely mining and her economy was untouched the entire game.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, when you take away your opponent's gold, they don't have a gold.
True. That's facts.
Yeah.
His facts here, and Scarlett does take a lead, 1 game away from making it to the grand finals, bearing in mind as well that Rogue, even though he hasn't been back for too long after the military service, he has risen the ranks very quickly. We spoke about it before, about a DreamHack Dallas. Rogue, he was able to bring Solar down twice in the group stage, knocking Solar out of the tournament. Like, Rogue has some devastating ZvZ.
Yeah, it wasn't just that he took down Solar. It was a Solar who was arguably the best Zerg player in Korea at the time, and quite possibly the best ZvZ player in the world at the time. It was absolutely insane for Rogue to come in and just say, "Nope, I'm gonna make you overthink, and I'm gonna take your spot in the playoffs.
I'm gonna make you fly home early," which did happen.
Yeah, it did.
Oh god.
He just turned around. He went right back to the airport after that. He didn't even pack. He didn't even check out of the hotel and get his luggage. He was like, "Yep, you know what? Maru will bring it back for me."
True. Smurge.
But regardless, we're going to be continuing our series now on Post-Youth, the other interesting map in the current map pool. So, yeah, I'd love to see it when these two players face off against each other. Over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea, the land of dwarves, if you will. We have, representing Team Falcons, we have Rogue.
Yaku, I think you need to calm down. I think
I need to calm up.
You need to calm down, Poppy. It's not. You're hurting everyone's ears. That's spawning in the top right-hand corner. We do have our Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. Here we
What's
go.
wrong with my Falcon cry?
It's not a falcon. It's crying. It's what it's. That's the problem, Yaku. Is the falcon is crying. It's crying out for help, and you need to let it breathe.
Oh,
leave it alone.
Just like. Oh wait, this is spoilers. Never mind. I was gonna say just like that new Planet of the Apes, but
there you go.
That is spoilers.
I mean, while we're settling into a very interesting opener, I believe Scarlett did go for a, I was going to say 15-15. There was an extractor trick earlier on, which means Scarlett has some later gas mining compared to Rogue, but just a slight variation here from Scarlett as we're settling into our openers. It was a slightly faster spawning pull out of Scarlett, just being safe.
Yeah, it was a 15-15. It was just a 15.
Yeah. So with that, the gases again are going to be a little bit delayed here, and we are skipping link speed with it. We're going right into that lair. Both players are.
You already know what it's gonna be. You already know what it's gonna be from here.
Are we going two base Muta versus two base Muta? Is that happening right now? We're taking more gases.
Taking more gas. Ooh. Scarlett yet to take the second, third, or fourth gas. Rogue. Oh no, they both have double gas. All right.
Yeah, I'm curious here. So Scarlett throws down the Roach Warren, is walling up on two bases with that Roach Warren. I'm curious if Scarlett will invest into Roaches or head in a different direction. Likewise, Rogue has yet to throw down any tech structure. Taking all four gases, we're going for the lair. Rogue is at least embracing two base Muta. It has to be, right?
Yeah, I love to see it.
Just for you, Yaku, just for you.
Or at least I do. Yeah, it's very common on this map, I found. It's a good map for it. It's got a lot of... You can kind of avoid a lot of the ground. There's a spire.
You can, right? You can avoid a lot of the ground. You can avoid a lot of the choke points out there. But what I'm concerned about, like, this is cool, right? Like, we're rushing into two-base Muta, but that means we have no Bathing Nest, we have no Roach Warren, we are vulnerable, and Scarlett is going two-base Roach. Scarlett is going for a much earlier push, and Rogue, he might get caught out.
But you know what? Roaches. They don't shoot up.
They don't. I don't think they need to. The Spire is barely not halfway done. We're amassing Roaches, and Scarlett is about to go for a big two-base all-in, and if Rogue has nothing on the ground, then that could just be game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of lings, but they're hardly going to be useful if they can't get their surrounds. And it's kind of tricky to get surrounds when you have a massive ball of Roaches like that. They're just so much thicker than what you can wrap around with your lings.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be avoiding the Overlords. Meanwhile, Spine Coolers are on the way. Ling's going for a big counterattack, and they're buying time. They're dragging the Roaches back home for a moment with Scarlett. She says no. She keeps on pushing. We have a wall back at home. We have Roaches the whole position. Scarlett will defend with the bare minimum, and we're committing.
Yeah, might as well at this point. We have more Roaches on the way. Scarlett, she scents blood in the water. She knows that Rogue is vulnerable now. Do have a wall of Spine Crawlers, but they're not up just yet. They cannot be transfused. And even if they could, I mean, there's just barely any energy here on these queens. But the Ling's coming up from behind. You'll be able to take out a queen, gonna be able to distract the army long enough for these Spine Crawlers to get up and running.
Yeah, the Spine Crawlers, they are done. We have transfused on the queens. The Mutas are on the way. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Rogue. Scarlett is on a bit of a timer. We have to end the game here and now. We have Ravagers on the way. That will help when it comes to knocking down this wall, when it comes to knocking down those spines, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, time which Rogue is looking to steal from Scarlett. Mutalists pop out, but they don't actually go across the map immediately. They're fighting here as part of the defense.
Yeah, they focus on the
out a little bit.
Yeah, they focus on the queen. They're focusing on the Roaches as well. One Spine Crawler goes down. Second Spine Crawler goes down. But we are running out of steam. How much will we have left over as we're breaking our way through? The final Spine Crawler will fall. We get into the mineral line.
Yeah, the rest of the Mutas now coming into play. 7 drones fall, 8 drones fall, and there's some really good damage. But how many of Scarlett's drones are gonna fall once Rogue goes across the map of all these Mutas?
Yeah, not just the drones, a lot of Overlords going to be going down as well. That's already 2 Overlords, soon to be 3, soon to be 4. We're racing back home. Spores are on the way. Queens are amassing as well. Scarlett should be able to defend on 2 bases with these Spores, but this also means that Rogue is free to expand and take a third.
Yeah, you can expand, take a third, grab more drones, drone up. And the Spore Crawlers are about to finish up, but we have so many Mutas that, there we go, GG is called. Rogue gonna be tying things up 1-1. I was gonna say Rogue can kind of dive in and dive out as if those Mutas were oracles.
Oh yeah, GG, well played. Rogue was able to barely or successfully defend. I say barely defend. It was so smart of Rogue to go for the Ling counterattack to drag away the army of Scarlett, to buy a little bit extra time and to eventually get the surround as well. There was no answer to the Mutas. They got across the map just in time. And that means we're making our way into the ace match.
That was a very quick reaction and the correct reaction coming out from Rogue here to just immediately, after scouting those Roaches making their way across the map, without even thinking, just grab the Spine Crawlers, distract the army, set up for a bit of a flank, and then just carry on as usual. Get more Mutas after that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. It didn't even need to progress into a longer game, into a third base. The Mutas were enough, and with that, we're headed into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Golden Aura.
For our semifinals, anyway. As we load into Golden Aura LE, where of course over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right, we have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing his team, Team Falcons. Ah! Ah! He is a rogue.
Shaking my head. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. Getting forced into the ace match. Can we bring it back? It is Scarlett.
Okay.
Yeah, this time hatch first.
Yeah. Hatch first, coming out from both of our players. Once again, neither of them really wanting to risk anything too much here on the ace match. It is also a very big and wide open map compared to the previous two. This is probably... Ooh, I say that, but that's a hatchery.
Yeah, I noticed Scarlett did not take a gas, did not take a spawning pool. It's going to be a 3-hatch opener, triple hatch opener even. This looks like an Ender build. This looks like a Link Flood.
You know, yeah, I'm just stunned and silent. It has been a long time since we've seen this, and we'll see if she's going to be able to make it work. Now, this is a very effective build if it catches your opponent off guard. This is how Ender defeated, I want to say, Nice, potentially, back in the day. But we'll see. It's, especially on a map like Golden Aura, if it's scouted early on, I do feel like Rogue is going to have a lot of time to set up a defense.
I'm curious if there's any kind of kinship between Ender and Scarlett. I know Ender started streaming StarCraft again like a week ago. He started competing again. It was really cool to see his return into StarCraft, like 2 weeks ago, I think, in total. And Scarlett is, you know, currently residing in China, so maybe now that they're in the same time zone, maybe they traded some builds and they traded some playstyles. I'm curious as to the origin of this. But yeah, basically with this macro hatchery, we have a lot of larva. We have a lot of larva early on, and this should lead into a Link Flood. I'm curious if it will. Ender does like to switch things up and sometimes go into a more macro game from here and try to force an overreaction out of his opponent. So I'm curious how Scarlett will adapt to this and whether or not she embraces kind of Ender's approach.
Yeah, for now we are just setting ourselves up, saturating our 2 bases. But beyond that, she's going to have a lot of options on her hands. I don't see any more gas being taken, and we're still mining gas, but not very efficiently.
Yeah, I'm curious if this gas mining is only for a Baneling nest. Scarlett is still working towards 50 gas for that eventual Baneling nest, or maybe for some further tech, as Ling production has now begun for Scarlett. You can see she's fully saturated on 2 bases, and yeah, it's nothing but Lings.
I did not realize that Baneling nest was that cheap gas-wise.
Yeah.
50 gas? That's it? Jeez.
And for now,
we'll ask for 0 gas.
True. Get on that balance team, and there it is. Okay, Roach Worm behind this. It's going to be a Link Flood followed by Roaches. Interesting. There's going to be layers to this push. Second gas is now being taken. Meanwhile, Rogue back at home is getting into his own 2-base Roach play himself.
Yeah, he has that 3rd, but hasn't saturated it just yet. It is only a 3rd base for larva to aid in the defense. A lot of roaches are about to pop out, but it can quite easily be surrounded at this stage.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving on the 3rd base, going for a kill, and it looks like we have no transfuse. The hatchery is going to go down.
And now Scarlett needs to get the hell away from all these roaches and queens.
Yeah, we're going to be rotating around. We're keeping Rogue busy, keeping him pinned on 2 bases. Behind this, Scarlett is joining up, taking gases, and this should be for +1 Carapace and Ling Ravager, I imagine. That would be a good way to make use of all these Lings. We'll see how Scarlett does tech from here.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the Roachborn.
Let's have the Roach one.
Yeah, just confirming that for anybody who thought they might be hallucinating.
Yes, we are just trying
I see it too. You know, it's not. Yeah.
There you go. He's just keeping tabs on Rogue. Again, Rogue is going to be more defensive here. Hasn't droned up too much. Rogue has not taken his 4th gas geyser in the main. Is working towards the lair. That should be for Roach speed before we move out across the map. But again, I'm curious whether it's going to be carapace. No, it's going to be +1 range. Okay, Scarlett is going to try to work towards Roach Ravager, but Rogue has a massive Roach army, and yeah, we're just kind of waiting for his moment. As Scarlett actually cancels +1 range.
Oh, okay. Taking a bit more of a defensive posture here by canceling +1 range and getting +1 carapace instead. If we had a Baneling Nest, I would assume that maybe she does want to go keep up the aggression, but we don't, so...
She's going for an all-in. +1 carapace is going to be for an all-in, and so is Rogue. Basically, this is a really good way to go into Ling Ravager, as we mentioned before, so we should be morphing in as many Ravagers as possible from Scarlett, and the goal is going to be to lock down the army with the Lings, and then, well, of course, with those Ravagers as well. But yeah, this is a very aggressive follow-up here from both players.
Got a little 1-2 punch coming at you. Scarlett, of course, going to have that advantage with Ling-wise, going to be able to get better surrounds, I would imagine, on top of all these roaches, but we'll see. Rogue has a lot more roaches. At a certain point, you know, it's kind of difficult to surround them when they act as their own buffer.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if we can. I mean, ideally, Rogue moves out, and then Scarlett can catch Rogue out of the open. For now, we're massing up more Lings. We should be morphing in the Ravagers. There they go. Ravagers are on the way, and we'll see if Scarlett can execute this. Again, the ideal is for Rogue to push into Scarlett, just so we can catch Rogue out in the open. That's going to be the ideal position for Scarlett.
Are we just going to be playing Roach Ravager Chicken at this point?
It's possible.
Rogue knows that Scarlett wants him to push into her. Scarlett knows that if she moves out, then she's vulnerable. So, but here we go, the push out, the move out coming out here from Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue is moving out, and Scarlett is going to be getting ready for this round. But the Lings, ooh, they almost get caught out. A couple of Lings are shaved off. Scarlett has to back off. That means she's not set up for a surround, but she's getting ready. She's getting ready for that mass surround. Again, we have so many Lings. The purpose here is to lock down the army.
We'll see if she can get there. The Roaches right now are looking not necessarily split up, but a little bit thin, and with a couple of cracks here and there. Biles will unfortunately get a bit of friendly fire, and it looks like Scarlett starting to get sandwiched between these two Roaches.
Yeah, she's unable to lock down the army, unable to get the surrounds here. Roaches, they're getting on top of the Ravagers, and Rogue is breaking through. Do you have some decent connections on the left-hand side? They're going to be some okay connections.
Yeah, Scarlett going to be able to deal with the left flank, but what about on the right side?
Yeah, we'll see, as once again we're getting some of the Ravagers as well. The Lings have to push forward.
And they're going to try to get those surrounds. Ooh! Poor Ravager.
Yeah, a bit of friendly fire. Lings, they try to surround, but they barely cannot get a surround on these Roaches. Rogue, he's too slippery. Well, he did live up those Roaches, and we target fire every single Ravager.
Yeah, GG is called, and Rogue going to be taking that series 2-1. Becoming, I believe, our first finalist of the evening.
GG, well played. Rogue will take it. Again, Scarlett, I should give some praise to Rogue when it came to his army movement. When he first moved out with his split Roaches, that was ideal. If he had moved out in one big blob, then the chances of getting surrounded is a lot easier, a lot higher. That was what Scarlett was hoping for, but because Rogue had split up his army, a surround wasn't possible, and Scarlett did not get that ideal situation where she was able to get a full surround and lock down the army and get the Biles to connect. It was a risky move out of Scarlett. Again, she was all in, and we saw what happens if you're unable to get the surrounds. Rogue, likewise, really, really quick to maneuver his army and to avoid that.
Yeah, it's really a scenario that you put yourself in. It's a scenario that requires you to control your units almost perfectly. Or at the very least be able to get that sequence of events down just right to be able to lock down your opponent's Roaches, bile them down as well, hope that, you know, they're not going to be able to kill that 1 or 2 Lings that is the only thing keeping them in place, and then slip away right at the end there. But Rogue, yeah, he's just too slippery. Those Roaches, just a little bit too looped up.
Yeah. Exactly. So smooth, so quick with those roaches, able to avoid those biles, avoid the surrounds. GG, well played. Rogue, as you mentioned, is our first finalist and is waiting for the winner of Lancer and Nightmare.